Excuse me. Okay, now let's continue. Now let's talk about the work done by the hydraulics. Okay, so we learn about Pascal, and let's say I give you an example here. You have a small piston connected to larger piston. Okay, so this is area 1 and area 2. Area 2 bigger than area 1, and then you have force 1, force 2. Okay, work done, the formula is more. Work done W equals to force times distance W, force times displacement or distance, that's the same thing, right? So the distance has to be the same direction as the force. This is the criteria for work done, for work to be done. Now, imagine 如果你 apply force and press down the piston 1, the smaller piston. Okay, so we say that we take the surface of the cylinder, the top flat surface of the cylinder, we check it as 0 meter, right? So as you press it down, let's say it moves, at a certain distance. We label it S1. Okay, it moves a certain distance down, and the other side, the larger piston, also at the same time, it moves a certain distance up, right? We label it as S2. Okay, so the work done on the piston 1 is calculated by this W equals to F1 times S1, right? F1 times S1. Now, it's very important to know that this is the key. Okay, work done on the left piston is same as the work done at the right piston. Remember this one. I write this down. Work done on the left piston 等于 work done on the right piston. Okay, 就很像 pressure 这样啦. Left side equals to right side. Now, since the work done is the same, right? So what happens if you look at the formula? Okay, let's look at the formula here. So W equals to okay, so 用红色 W 等于 F 乘 S。如果 work 是 constant 的话，然后我的 force increases, what happened to my distance? Okay, you bring this distance over there. So W over S 等于 F. I want to see the relationship between the distance and the force. If work is kept constant, this one, what happens to my distance? If my force is big, then my distance becomes smaller, right? You see the relationship between this one. In other words, we can say that the distance and the force is inversely proportional, right? So when the work done is kept constant, as the force increases, we get a smaller distance. So if you look back at this diagram, since the work done here at the left pistons, W1, is equal to the work done here, W2, meaning that this distance S2 is smaller than S1. You see that? Why? 为什么？因为它的 F2 是 bigger 嘛 here. F2 is bigger, right? So meaning that this piston, the right piston, is moving at a much smaller distance. Okay, so S2 is less than S1. So let's say I put some values inside so that you can see it. Okay, I put some value inside. Okay, let's say the force number 1 is we put it as 500 Newton. Okay, 500 Newton. 然后 distance 1, we put it as 20 cm. This is 20 cm. And distance 2 is the one that you want to calculate. And force number 2 is 2000 Newton. Okay, now what is the distance 2? Then you calculate that. Work done 1, F times S. So 500 times 20 cm, you change to meter, 0.20. So 100 joules. Okay, so 100 joules, then you W2 equals to F2 times S2. So 100 joules here equals to 2000 times S2. So you get S2 is 0.05 meter. Okay, so equals to 5 cm. Now, if you look at this one, S2, you compare S2 to S1. S2, when S1, when the first piston is pushed down 20 cm, the second piston only moves about 5 cm. It's like 4 times lesser, right? 4 times lesser. Okay, so which is why, this explains why the hydraulic jack, you think back, 你想回那个 hydraulic jack, when you jack up the car, right, you're pushing it down, right, all the way down. But how come it only lift up a little bit? This explains it, right? You're pushing the hydraulic jack all the way down, but it only lift up a little bit, and you have to keep doing it, right? You have to keep pressing it out, then slowly, 慢慢还会慢慢上。This is why when you press down the first piston, the second piston only travels a little bit because of the work done, right? Okay, so remember this one. Now, okay, so you can write down this one. Put a star here. So piston 2 exerts a larger force, but it moves a smaller distance. All right. Okay, you guys copy this down. However you want to copy it, you can sketch it in your notepad. You can snap it or what. Okay, 5 minutes, then 我们会看几题 example. Okay, excuse me a while, I'll go to the bathroom a little. So, Okay, sorry about that. I was in the washroom just now. Okay, 我们看几题 example。Okay, example 1. Okay, here you 看这个图哦，你有piston A and piston B. Okay, here piston A, piston B, and then they are having a different area. So one is 20 cm square, one is 90 cm square. Okay, so it doesn't look different now, but it's actually different now, right? Because of my drawing. My drawing is not according to the proportion. Okay, just treat it differently. The area is different. Okay, one is bigger. Now you have liquid here in between the piston, and then when you apply a force of 250 N here. So figure shows cylinder connected to a large cylinder. The cylinder is filled with a type of liquid. Piston A is pushed with a force of 250. Calculate the force acting on piston B. Now this is straightforward, right? Straightforward. So how do you calculate it? Since you know that pressure at A must be equal to pressure at B. Why? Because of Pascal, right? The pressure is transmitted uniformly, okay, in an enclosed liquid. Now, PA, so you have FA over area equals to P FB over area. So here you can put in the value, so 250, and then the area 20, you have to change it to meter square, so times 10 to the power -4 equals to FB divided by 90, also times 10 to the power -4. Okay, so FB is 1125 magnified force. Okay. Okay, 第二题2E. The cross-section areas of piston A and piston B are 0.04 and 0.8. A force of 300 is applied to piston M. Find the force exerted by piston N. Okay, same method to do it. PA equals to PB, and then you have 300 divided by the area 0.04, and then FB 0.8. Okay, so FB is 6,000 Newton. So here at the larger piston, it exerts a 6,000 Newton, meaning that it can lift up any object that has a 600, maximum of 600 Newton. Okay, so number 2, if piston A moves down by 25 cm, piston B moves up by how much? Now this is the one that we use the work done, right? So piston A moves down by 25. So here down 25 cm. How far does the piston B moves? Okay, so we calculate work done. What is the work done? W equals to F times S, right? So the force that is acting on piston A is 300 times 0.25. The work done is 75 joules. Okay, now work done at the first piston is equal to the work done at the second piston, simply because the liquid is incompressible. Okay, so W 75 equals to Fs. So here the F is now 6,000 times the distance. Okay, so S equals to 0.0125. So it's 1.25 cm. Okay, so you notice that 你要按25 cm of the piston A only to lift piston B by 1.25 cm. That's the disadvantage of it lah. Okay, so it's like you have the good side and the bad side. The good side is that you can magnify the force, but the bad side you have to do it in repetition. You have to repeat, right? So this is the 1.25, the answer. Okay, so 把这个写下来 or you can snap it, you can write it down in your notepad. Okay, you guys snap it. I'm moving on to the question 3. Okay, 来我们看第三题。Now, the cross-sectional area of the input and output piston are 64 and 192. Now, if the output piston rises by a distance of 18 cm, how far will the input piston move? So if this one rises 18 cm, how do you calculate this one? Input. But this time I give you the area. Okay, so from the formula, W1 等于 W2. Work done, same. Now I expand the equation. Work done equals to F1 times distance 1 等于 F2 times distance 2. Okay, F equals to what? Pressure equals to F over area, right? So F equals to pressure times area. So pressure 1 times area 1 times S1 equals to pressure 2 times area 2 times S2. Okay, so after I expand the equation, notice that P1 is equals to P2, right? P1 等于 P2. Okay, at different point, 2 different points, same. So I can just cut off this one. So that leaves us A1 times S1 等于 A2 times S2. So A1, you put in the formula, right? A1 is 64 cm square, 换去 m square 就是乘4跑减4，这是 area， 然后 distance 就是distance we don't know, right? We want to calculate this one, distance equals to A2 is 192 times 10 to the power negative 4, and then I times 0.18 meter. Now 你就找了 S1 等于多少？ 0.54 meter. Should be bigger. Should be bigger. OK 吗？有问题记得 stop 我啊。OK， 我们看第四题。Okay, here you have a YouTube diagram, and then between you have two different liquids, liquid Y and liquid X. Okay, and then you can see that they are two balanced by the A between them. This is the A, right? Now you got no piston here, no piston. Okay, so just that these two liquid here is balanced by this A here. Now here you have unknown height H. Determine the difference in height of the two liquids in the YouTube shown. 就是要你要找 H 是多少。Now from here， 记得我讲那个 for liquid at the same level they have the same pressure。OK 啊 ，so at the same level they have the same pressure。意思是说，如果我 mark 这里 X 跟 Y 是同样的 pressure。OK，so the pressure acting at X and the pressure acting at Y they are the same。So let's calculate the pressure X. Okay, I write Px 是等于 Py. Okay, and then I break down the pressure formula. So pressure formula for liquid 是什么 ？P 记得吗 ？P equals to H rho G. Okay, this is liquid, right? So H rho G equals to H rho G. Okay, so this H is 12 cm, right? So 0.12乘 the density of liquid Y is 1200. Okay, G I can just cut it off. Here, cancel, same thing, right? So 这里 now the second is now this H is H plus 0.12. Okay, because it has to be from the top all the way to the point Y. So H plus 0.12 times the density is 800. Okay, so you need to H. What is the difference in height H? If you calculate, then you will get 0.06 meter. Okay, 6 cm. This is the answer. OK， 你们 screenshot 这个，我们去最后一题。Okay, this one, the diagram shows a hydraulic system in equilibrium with three objects weighing W1, W2, and W3 placed on pistons with cross-sectional area A1, A2, A3. Which comparison is correct? So which one has the greatest weight? By looking at this example, which one has the greatest weight? Okay, so from the formula P equals to F over A. Okay, you can just use the formula to identify. You see 在3个 point pressure 是一样嘛 ？Okay, 3个 piston pressure acting here, same as pressure acting here, same as pressure acting here. So when the pressure is constant, and if you bring this over here, F 等于 P 乘 A. When pressure is constant, as the area increases, the force increases, right? Meaning that you find the biggest area. That is when the heaviest object lies, W3. Right? W3 should have the greatest weight. So which one is the answer? A is confirm out lah. A. W3B is the answer. W3 is the largest area, so largest force. W2 is second highest, and followed by W1. Okay, guys, take 2. I will send you the exercise in the group.